The world's longest scientific study of happiness is now in its 85th year. Researchers at Harvard have been studying a pool of subjects and their descendants since 1938. The objective? To unlock the age-old question of what makes a good life. Originally, there were 724 participants. 268 were sophomores at Harvard. Their ranks included future President John F. Kennedy and future Washington Post editor Ben Bradley. The study later incorporated a parallel one that was tracking 456 less privileged inner-city Boston boys. Thereafter, the pool was expanded to include 1,300 descendants. They've been tracking these folks for 84 years, and the retention rate for the original participants, an amazing 84%. Every 2 years, the participants answer lengthy questionnaires. Every 5 years, they surrender their medical records. Every 15 years, they are interviewed face-to-face. So what's the life lesson? Good relationships keep us happier, healthier, and help us live longer. There's a new book about the study. It's called The Good Life, Lessons from the World's Longest Scientific Study of Happiness. The authors are Mark Schultz, a clinical psychologist, associate director of the study, and my next guest, Robert Waldinger, a Harvard psychiatrist and director of the Harvard Study of Adult Development. Dr. Waldinger, thank you so much for being here. Physical fitness, we all know about that. That's important, but so often overlooked is what you regard as social fitness. What is that?
It's the finding in our research that people who do the best, who are happiest and healthiest, maintain their relationships. They're active in keeping up their relationships, keeping contact with friends and family and community members.
You say that the folks who at 50 are solid in their relationships are going to be the ones at age 80 who are both physically and mentally most sound. Is it too late? I mean, for some people watching right now who may be older, is it too late to follow your prescription?
It is never too late. Our study shows us that people find friends, they find love when they're sure it's never going to happen for them at all different points of their lives. And a lot depends on whether you are intentional about making and nurturing good relationships.
Your original pool, both sides of the study, white men. How reliable are your findings for people who are not white men?
Well, now we have gender balance. So we brought in spouses, we brought in children, more than half of whom are women. So we have gender balance. And what we do is we make sure that our findings are replicated by other studies of non-white people and by people all over the world. So we are confident that these findings are true for people of all backgrounds.
I had you on my radio program, and callers after you left pointed out my deficiency in not asking about pets and not asking about religion. Address both of those now.
We did not study pets, but there are studies that tell us that the touch of a pet, petting a pet, actually lowers heart rate, calms us down, has a health benefit in that way. With religion, what we found was that religious people weren't happier than non-religious people, and they weren't less happy. But our religious people and people who had spiritual practices said that they found these practices a real comfort in times of stress.
There's a lot of data out there. Jean Twenge comes to mind about the relationship. I'm not sure if she would say causation, but she would definitely say correlation between problems of mental health, anxiety, depression among young Americans, and their connectivity. So how does social media factor into this? Because I'm worried that too many young people are behind closed doors not having the type of interactions that you say are so important.
And it's a big worry right now in our culture. What the research is starting to show us is that it depends on how we use social media. If we actively use social media to connect with other people, that's likely to increase our happiness levels. If we passively consume somebody else's Instagram feeds, somebody else's happy pictures of beaches and parties, that's going to lower our self-esteem. It's going to make us feel like we're missing out on the good life, which isn't the truth.
You know, time and again in the book, you would present parallel tracks, short bios of some of the folks who are in this control group, if that's the right way to say it. The person you might expect to end up with the happiest life, it's often not the case.
Yeah. We found, for example, we had two people who started out as Harvard undergraduates, lives of privilege, all set up to have great lives. One was our happiest man who had a very ordinary career as a wonderful high school teacher, but nothing fancy. And another, a very prominent attorney who worked hard all his life and won lots of awards. And he was one of our least happy people. And the difference between them was the extent to which they paid attention to and took care of the connections they had with family, friends, community.
Dr. Waldinger, before you leave me, give us something everyone watching can do today in line with the findings of your book, The Good Life.
Yeah. Take small actions. It doesn't have to be big. Think of somebody you miss, somebody you'd like to connect with. Just send them a text, send them an email saying, "Hi, I was thinking of you and just wanted to connect." And if you do that regularly with the people in your life who you value, you'll be amazed at the positive emotion and the positive connection that comes back to you.